Hey all, Treebeard here. I was just about to go out when I just remembered that I got this book a little bit ago. It's called Truth and Comedy by Charna Halpern. And it's supposed to be a manual for improv comedy, but it actually does include some passages about comedy in general. And I feel like having this recorded would prove useful, because when you're looking at any cartoon series that's trying to make jokes, I've always found it a little confusing when reviewers that I respect, like Mr. Enter or Pie Guy, would just say something along the lines of "it's not funny" or "it's just not funny." I always found it a little confusing because funny is a very subjective term. So I decided to pick up a book on comedy, and I might find more books on comedic theory to figure out what things tend to be funny. I'll be reading a passage on this book's treatise on how you can be funny, or how to be funny, or what funny is. So let's have a look. How to be funny. First of all, no one can read a book and become funny. So if you've just bought this book in the hopes of becoming popular, earning a reputation as a silver-tongued raconteur, or scoring points with the opposite sex, you might as well return this to the bookstore and exchange it for a copy of 1001 Jokes, Jests, and Jibes. Damn. That said, it is possible to learn techniques that teach you how to become a funny performer, and they don't involve memorizing pages of stale jokes. Everyone who has ever performed comedy has their own definite ideas about how to be funny, but the simplest and most basic concept may also be the most effective. The truth is funny. Honest discovery, observation, and reaction is better than contrived invention. After all, we're funniest when we're just being ourselves. Sitting around relaxing with friends usually inspires far more laughter than a TV sitcom or someone trying to tell jokes. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Odds are that your most recent belly laughs were the result of talking with your friends. When we're relaxing, we don't have to entertain each other with jokes. And when we're simply opening ourselves up to each other and being honest, we're usually funniest. We've all sat down with 2 or 3 friends and described an incident or discussed something that happened in our lives. This is precisely what a stand-up comic does, although a stand-up's audience is usually, though not always, larger than 2 or 3 people. And over here it kind of goes on to talk about improvisation and partner and ensemble. And partner ensemble is actually a theatrical principle, one of Stanislavski's principles for good acting chops. That might be something to talk about another day if I ever end up talking about things whose primary critique point is the acting. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to be talking about comedy from this book. Real humor does not come from sacrificing the reality of a moment in order to crack a cheap joke, but in finding the joke in the reality of the moment. Simply put, in comedy, honesty is the best policy. Now, even the book points this out. You can't just read a book and be funny. But I feel like those last few paragraphs were particularly telling, and they kind of help expound on what exactly it is about, say, Teen Titans Go that doesn't make it terribly funny, that it very often tries to sacrifice the reality of the moment to crack cheap jokes. And in fact, it often sacrifices the reality of its own universe in order to crack cheap jokes. When the funniest things about Teen Titans may be things that just are in the original Teen Titans series. Hell, the original didn't even take itself all that seriously. But yeah, this was an excerpt from Truth and Comedy, and you can find it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever fine books are sold online. I've been Treebeard, you've been watching Hoof Hearted, and catch you later.